Foxes here. Hope you're having a very good week. I'm bringing you a new video in which I will be talking about everything that I have read last week. So instead of making a traditional wrap-up and TBR videos, I decided that I will be making a very short video every single week in which I will be talking about everything that I have read and everything that I plan to read. So in the past week, I've read 3 volumes of Saga. So I read volume 3, volume 4, and volume 5. This is quite an amazing graphic novel series, which I'm really enjoying. It is a blend of sci-fi and fantasy set up in a different world, actually in several worlds. It has several quite interesting and engaging storylines. I love the art. I love the storyline. It's a bit mature. There is a lot of violence, drugs, sex, and all of that in it, but it's quite engaging. I'm pretty sure you heard about this one before because it seems like pretty much everyone on BookTube is currently reading it. So I think I gave pretty much every single volume 4.5 or 5 stars in Goodreads. This is a very good series. I highly recommend it if you haven't started reading it yet. Then I read volume 1 of Constantine. The volume 1 is called The Spark and the Flame. It's a new series by DC Comics. I have never read the comics before, but I watched the movie with Keanu Reeves and I really liked it. So when they announced the TV show, I immediately jumped on board with it and I started watching it. But as you probably know, the TV show was canceled mid-through first season because quite honestly it wasn't very good. The plot line was bad and the acting wasn't as good as I hoped it would be either. But I decided to pick up this volume just to see what the comics look like, and I think it's a completely brand new storyline, and it got me really confused because obviously, as I'm not familiar with the storyline of the previous series, it briefly mentions something that happened in Newcastle that I'm aware of from the TV show, but it also mentions something that had happened in London that I've never read of before, obviously. So I don't know. I like the art. I thought it was quite good, but the plot, like as you can see, right? But the plot line itself was a bit obscure and here's the helicopter, guys. I hope you enjoy this special sound effect. Yes, I can see the chopper. And you can probably hear it as well. Okay. As I was saying, I quite liked the art, but I found the storyline a bit confusing. Also, must say that this version of Constantine is a bit more cruel and heartless compared to the one in TV show. I give it 3 stars. I will definitely continue just to see how the storyline expands, but otherwise, I'm not too excited about this one. Then I read volumes 3, 4, and 5 of Chew. Thanks Samantha for the recommendation. It's a quite peculiar comic about Tony Chu, who's a special agent, and he has a peculiar ability to tell when he eats something what it was made of. If he eats, say, an apple, he can tell where it was grown and if any pesticides were used. If he eats a part of human body, he can tell how that person died or what their profession was, pretty much everything about the person. When I read the volume 1, I was a bit confused because it was kind of gory and I'm squirmish, to be honest, and I didn't like that part about cannibalism at all. But at the same time, I started to appreciate the sense of humor in the story, and it's really funny. It's quirky, it's unconventional, and I really like the art style as well. So I read volumes 3, Just Desserts, volume 4, Flambe, and volume 5, Major League. As you can see, the art is quite uh, bright, and there is a lot of action on the pages as well, which I really like. Another thing which I really like about this graphic novel is that they put a lot of jokes in the background as well. So, for example, if you're looking at a page and there is some sort of sign or notice or board on it, just in the background, it might say something very funny as well. For example, in this panel, the guys are hiding behind a crate because they got themselves in the crossfire between two mobs, and the note on the crate says, "Certainly not drugs for Jersey mob guys." So there are just a lot of humor in those small notes as well, which I really like about this graphic novel. I really enjoy the series, so I gave volume 3 4 stars, volume 4 4 stars as well, and Major League 4 stars as well. Another book that I read this weekend was The Lady Paranorma by Vincent Marcone. I've never heard about this writer before, and I believe this is his first graphic novel. This is a very thin, very short book. The story is about a lady who has a paranormal ability. She can hear ghosts, and the story itself is very short. There are 74 pages in this book, and the style is quite I don't know, I really like it. I don't know even how to describe it. It's gothic and it's dark, and at the same time it's quite peculiar. As you can see, there are full images on each page. I'm not going to talk about the story itself just because it's extremely short, but what attracted me to this book, first of all, is that at the very end of the book there is a link to the website that belongs to this author, and you could go there and watch a very short movie which this book was based on. Also, this book is blurred by Guillermo del Toro and Clive Barker. If you go to the author's website, you can buy the book on the website, and you can get a lot of digital freebies as well. One of those are, I think, some gifts and images from the book. I'm not so sure because I got this book from the library. Another thing which I really liked about this book is that it's a puzzle book. So on every single page there is a cardinal bird hidden on it, and you have to find it. So there are 74 pages and 74 cardinal birds hidden on them. To be honest, I found only half of them. So, for example, here it's quite obvious, right? But if you look at this page, you have to really squint to see this little bird in there. Or, for example, look at this page. It's very difficult to find a bird on it. The author is a Canadian, and apparently lives in Ontario, so I think it's quite an amazing book. I really enjoyed it, so highly recommend. I gave it 4 stars. This is everything that I have read during the week, and now I'm going to talk about the books that I'm still reading. One of the books that I'm still reading is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Like I mentioned in my book haul, I started this book quite a while ago, a couple of weeks ago. Still haven't finished it, only because I was really busy this week and wasn't feeling well. I'm currently on chapter 12. I'm not going to say anything about the story because pretty much every single person read it and reviewed it on BookTube. This is YA fantasy, quite well written, not as good or not as engaging as I expected it to be, but still quite good. Another book that I'm still reading is actually a manga. This is volume 1 of X manga by Clamp. It is a quite well-known manga group, and they produce quite a lot of manga over the years, as well as anime. X was actually anime. Well, it was a manga first, then it was made into I think anime, and I watched the anime many years before, but I never had a chance to read the original manga. So now I'm doing that, and I'm quite excited. I only read volume 1. There are there are 12 volumes altogether, but this edition has 3 in 1. So I read only volume number 1. So I read only volume number 1, and I still have 11 to go. I got them all from the library. I'm really excited. I'm a bit of a hoarder, to be honest. I get a lot of books from the library, and it takes me a while to read them. But I'm really enjoying it, and this is, you have to read right to left. I'm really enjoying this, and one of my favorite spreads so far was, I just wanted to show you the art. Look at this. If you're not familiar with the story, it's about the boy named Kamui, and Kamui means God in Japanese. He returns to Tokyo, which he abandoned several years ago after his mother's death. And he also left 2 of his friends, Kotori and Fuma. But when he returns, he is a very different person from the boy that they remember. And apparently he has some magic powers. So it's a bit difficult to describe the plot of the manga itself. It has a lot of magic in it, a lot of different powers trying to fight each other, and there is end of the world looming over them. If you like fantasy, if you like Japanese art, if you like mangas, I highly recommend this story. Besides Red Queen and that manga, I'm also reading 2 books on my Kindle. One of them is Asleep by Crystal Wade. I got it as an ARC about 2 weeks ago, and to be honest, I'm quite late with my review because the book has already been released. It's a YA horror story about the girl who gets sent to mental hospital by her parents. It's not quite clear why she was sent to that institution. Apparently there was some prank involved. Some of her friends decided to stage her suicide, and her parents thought that she was an embarrassment to their position in the society, and they decided to send her to this institution. The book didn't blow me away from the first page. That's why I'm experiencing a bit of trouble reading it. I'm about 25% into it, and I hope to finish it later today or maybe next week. The second book that I'm reading on my Kindle is called The Horse Mistress, book number 3 by R.A. Stephan. I read book 1 in January, really enjoyed it, read the arc of book number 2 in February and really enjoyed it as well. So currently I'm reading book number 3, which is Unapproved Arc. I think that the story has expanded really well. It's a fantasy type of story, but it has also adult, mature type of romance in it. There is a lot of LGBTQ plus themes to it as well. It's a bit difficult to describe because it will just give away the plot. If you're interested, I will just leave links down below to Goodreads page for you to check it out. Another book that I'm currently reading, or rather listening to as an audiobook, is The Night Manager by John le Carré. I don't know if you're aware, but there is a TV series that it's being filmed right now by BBC. It has Tom Hiddleston and Hugh Laurie in it, and I really want to watch the show, but I decided to read the book first. Since I didn't have the book, I ordered it at Book Depository, but I haven't received it yet. I'm currently listening to it in audio. The Night Manager is a spy novel set in the 90s. There is a bit of a lingering Cold War taste to it, very much, which is like a trademark of John le Carré's novels. It is a story that's a bit difficult to describe without giving up any sort of details about it, about the plot. The main character, Jonathan Pine, is hired by the intelligence agency to help and dismantle the network of the guy named Ropa. The book itself spans between several years and several locations. It takes place in Cairo, in England, in New York, whenever and wherever Jonathan has to go to get in touch with this guy. I am 30% into the audiobook. I'm really enjoying it. It's a very typical John le Carré novel. It's a very slow pace. There is not that much action, but there is quite beautiful language and style to the writing, and I think something should be happening very soon. Well, as a matter of fact, a lot of things have already happened. It's just there is such a very slow and reflective nature to the narrative that it reads quite different from typical spy novels. When you think about spy novels, you're probably thinking about James Bond, but this is definitely not a James Bond type of a book. It's quite slow paced, but it has such a wonderful language that the copy of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy that I have is fully tabbed. I just keep tabbing it because there are so many quotes in it that I absolutely love. I feel that The Night Manager might be the same thing. I'm still waiting for my copy of the book to arrive, and I will continue listening to the audiobook because it's quite well done. Well, this is it, guys. Hope I did very well with this sort of video. I plan to do these videos every week just to update you on what I have read and what I'm currently reading. I'm still not sure if I will be doing monthly wrap-up videos. I might do them. It will just depend on my mood. So far, I just decided to try this sort of the video. Please let me know how I did it. Let me know if you're reading any of these graphic novels or any other books that I've mentioned in my video. I hope you enjoyed it and see you soon. Bye! Oh, come on, Chopper. Help and dismantle the network by the name by the. I really cannot talk today. What's going on? Like I cannot. I just ah. Here comes the Chopper. Okay, helicopter is gone, thank goodness. This is my 10th time trying to describe the plot of Night Manager and I fail every single time. Bah.